Hi everyone, so in this video I'll be telling you the upsides and the downsides of owning a bike trailer with hubcaps. So I'm going to start off with the downside, which is curb scratching. So hitting curbs happens a lot to bike trailers, and they're extremely prone to curb scratches. If you have hubcaps, then they're basically guaranteed, almost 100% guaranteed, to be completely scratched to shreds after not really that long on the wheel. On the trailer. So as you can see, here's my bike trailer wheel. Look, with the lighting, it just looks like a hubcap. It is a wheel tyre, as you can see, with a spoke wheel behind, spoke alloy. So yeah, these are extremely prone to curb scratching. One, because the tyres are extremely low down, and they can just instead of the curb just hitting the tyres, which happens to a lot of cars, it's guaranteed if you hit a curb, it will definitely scratch the hubcap. And it will not hit the tyre at all unless you go up the curb. But yeah, it's guaranteed to basically ruin the wheel trims after a while, just scratching them, chipping them, everything. You know, it's almost guaranteed. So here's another downside: hubcaps falling off. Now, like I said about this hubcap curbing, hubcaps falling off are probably just as likely. They're probably definitely going to fall off at some point. So as you can see, here's my bike trailer wheel with the hubcap attached to it. As you can see, if you're wondering how it's attached, I just literally attach I cross tie one of the spoke for the wheels onto the ring of the hubcap, and then just sort of cable tie it, as you can see. So yeah, but the problem with that is, if the hubcap is definitely going to probably fall off, because what happens is the ring is attached to the wheel, and the hubcap is attached to the ring. But the ring doesn't really have, the clips do not have a really good grip on the ring itself, and that's how it can fall off. Because you can see, as you can see, I'll demonstrate. There you go, and the ring, as you can see, stays on, and the hubcap comes off. So just be aware on that. So this is actually an upside now. Cheap hubcaps. Now, if you can get, because I just told you the hubcaps are probably 100% likely gonna fall off at some point or get completely smashed. If you buy expensive sets, there's not really any point, because you're just either going to lose them or scratch them to shreds, or chip them or chunk them or whatever. You know, that is definitely going to happen at some point. So if you buy cheap hubcaps, then that's great. You know, that is if you put hubcaps on there at all. You can just leave them as a bare spoke rim, but I don't really like the spoke rims. I absolutely hate the design of the spoke rims. They don't look nice at all. So I just thought I'd just do that, and a lot of collectors with bike trailers do that as well. So yeah, I just buy cheap sets of hubcaps, just because if you end up losing them or chunking them or whatever, it's not really big of a deal, and you don't really spend a load of money on stuff that's just going to either fall off or break. So that's an upside to it. Yeah, moving on. So this is another downside. I think there's more downsides than upsides in this video, but it's just what I found out about bike trailers. So the next downside is the weight of. So there's another downside that's coming up next. I think there's more downsides in this video than upsides, but you know, there are some upsides which do benefit. So yeah, keep watching, just so you know about what the upsides are. So the downside is the weight. Now, you can get a super lightweight bike trailer. You can build one, you can get one. I'm building one myself personally, so that's why I've got a wheel here. But yeah, the weight of it can either be really heavy or really light. If it's really light, it can easily tip over. If it's really heavy, then it's going to be a bit, you can't really travel long distances with it without getting quite worn out, because you know, the extra weight and all that, especially if you have the trailer loaded up with stuff, say hubcaps or stuff, which a lot of hubcap collectors go out hubcap collecting with bike trailers. Yeah, that's a downside to it, the weight. If you build one or get one that's just the right weight, that's great. That's great. I really want to have like a normal lightweight one, but my one in particular, my one's quite a heavy one. So this one is an upside and a downside. So it's basically, it can be both. It can be either way. Just like the last one I told you about the heaviness of the trailer itself. The suspension. Now the suspension, I'm not going to have much of a suspension on my trailer, because I don't really know how to do it, and it'll probably be welding and nailing and screwing and stuff, and it'll be a bit of a hassle. But yeah, I'm probably not going to have much of a suspension on my bike trailer. But if you do have a good suspension, that's great. If your bike trailer has a bad suspension, don't be thinking, oh, my load and stuff that's in the back of my trailer is going to be all right, especially if stuff like brittle and stuff and fragile. Don't be thinking that's going to come out all right, because if you hit the slightest bump or pothole, it's probably just going to completely rattle the trailer. It's going to bump around all over the place, possibly lead to hubcaps falling off, which I mentioned earlier. And yeah, it's not really that great. If you have a good suspension, that's an upside, because if you have great suspension, then you can basically go in the rough, well, not the roughest terrain, but if you can go in pretty rough conditions and stuff and be mostly okay. So yeah, I hope you did enjoy this video. If there's any more things I've missed, let me know in the comments. But if I've missed anything that I know I've missed, then I will leave I'll leave them down in the description below and explain them in the description. So I hope you did enjoy. Bye guys.